What's up, guys? This is Corey with the Dirt City Gym. We're back today to look at another deck profile. Today we're going to be looking at Donphan in the expanded format. Everything that's been floating around with Decidueye, Vileplume, and things like that puts a more of a heavy reliance on things like Wobbuffet to really be effective. So today we're going to look at Donphan, which is a deck that really takes advantage of Wobbuffet. So let's get into the list. What's up, guys? I just wanted to let y'all know about the Dirt City Gym store for all of your Pokemon singles needs. For a limited time, we're offering a special promo code for all of our YouTube followers and subscribers. So be sure to use the promo code 10YouTube. That's 10YouTube, all caps. And we'll be providing a 10% discount for everyone who uses the code. So be sure to check us out. What's up, guys? Alright, so now we are looking into Donphan. So first up, we've got our Phanpy Donphan line. We're going to go 4-4. So Donphan is our primary attacker in the deck, and really what the deck's kind of built around. We're focusing around the attack spinning turn. For one fighting, it does 40 damage, and then you switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. It's a really strong attack, being able to get Donphan out of the active and put up something that really annoying for your opponent to deal with. We've got a couple different options in the deck that we've got to utilize that spinning turn, but so like I said, we're primarily dealing that 40 damage, which we can boost up with different things like Muscle Band, Strong Energies, Fighting Stadium, so that damage can go up to from 40 to 60 to 80 to even to 100, depending on how much we want to attach and all the kind of stuff that we want to do in order to maximize that. When we're spinning turn, we're wanting to bring up things that are tough for our opponent to deal with. One of the main things that we want to do is bring up a Wobbuffet. So Wobbuffet's got the ability Bide Barricade. So as long as its Pokemon is up in the active, each Pokemon in play, each player's hand and discard pile have no abilities. The only exception would be Psychic Pokemon can use their abilities. So this is shutting off things like Shaman, Vileplume, Decidueye, Darkrai, Keldeo, Blastoise, Jirachi EX, pretty much anything in the expanded format with the exception of like Hoopa, maybe. That's really the only thing you might see that is still being ran that's a Psychic Pokemon with an ability that Wobbuffet's not going to be able to shut off. Other than that, it's really annoying whether we're starting it with Wobbuffet beginning of the game and our opponent's going first. That means they don't have access to their Shamans and everything like that to get really that explosive start. With everything in Expanded right now, especially with the Decidueye Vileplume, it's really strong, being able to shut off that item lock, shut off those feather arrows and things like that until you're ready to move around and do whatever you need to do. Next up, we have another wall. We have Tauros. Tauros is really good to bring up off the spinning turn, depending on the situation. If we bring up the Tauros, we're basically challenging our opponent. You either have to find a way to Lysander around the Tauros, or you're going to have to attack into it, set up a Mad Bull GX or Rage for later down the road, or you're just going to have to not attack and just kind of let us do what we want, kind of keep them on their heels like that. We're only running a one of the Tauros. That's really not our go-to thing as opposed to the Wobbuffet, but Tauros is not a bad option. All of its attacks cost 1 DCE, so it's super splashable in a deck like this. And then finally for our Pokemon line, we're running one Shaman. Shaman's got the setup ability, let us draw cards up until 6. We have to be a little bit careful because of the Wobbuffet line that we're running, making sure we're not trying to Shaman with a Wobbuffet in the active, but as long as we're smart enough to play around that and things like that, Shaman's a really good card in order to get those explosive starts and going and things like that. Moving into our supporters and trainer line. So first up, we got Computer Search, just one of the best search cards in the game. Discard 2 cards from your hand, get one card, go get any card that you want out of your deck, and you don't have to show your opponent or anything. You just put it in your hand and use it whenever you need to. Running one Escape Rope. Just a little bit of maneuverability in the deck, kind of get out of the active, or get stuck, get something else out of the active. Good stuff like that. Next up, we got 3 Robo-Subs. Robo-Subs kind of work similar to like a Tauros or a Wobbuffet. It's something that we don't mind bringing up after a spinning turn. So Robo-Sub, it's an item, but while it's in play, it counts as a 30 HP basic Pokemon that if it's knocked out, it doesn't give up a prize. And you have the ability to discard it whenever you want. So you can get it out of the active, get it off your bench, however you want to do it. It's really good for stalling out turns a little bit and not giving up prizes while we're either setting up or just putting your opponent in that position where they've got to find a way to get Donphan or something else up in the active. Next up, we've got 2 Trainer's Mails, just getting us the ability to look through our deck a little bit, kind of get the cards we need, whether it be a really good supporter, draw supporter, an Ultra Ball, Robo-Subs, things like that. Next up, we've got 4 Ultra Ball, just pretty standard stuff. Just kind of search our deck for whatever Pokemon that it is that we need. 4 VS Seeker, again, pretty standard stuff. We've got 3 Fighting Stadium. So what Fighting Stadium does, the attacks of each of our fighting Pokemon will do an additional 20 more damage to your opponent's Pokemon EX. This is really good, helping that spinning turn make that maximum damage output. Obviously, as we're getting more and more into a less EX dominant format and more GXs and things like that, this is one of those cards that you could probably fade out a little bit in favor of a different stadium that kind of helps you out later in the game. Next up, we have 1 AZ. This is really more useful for getting things like Shaman out of the active, or maybe a Wobbuffet that we can't get a Floatstone, things like that. Just a really good 1-up supporter to always have in your discard pile whenever you need it. Next up, we've got 1 Colress. Colress is really great draw support. You draw a card, you shuffle your hand back in your deck, and then you draw a card for each Pokemon on both players' benches. Our bench is generally going to be relatively full with Tauros, Wobbuffets, Donphans, and Robosubs. So at the maximum, we're going to be drawing up to 10 cards if both benches are full. If we're going against like a Skyfield deck, then that number is going to really go up really high. Next up, we've got 1 Lysander. Just being able to get up whatever Pokemon we want up in the active and deal damage to is always a good thing. We've got 2 Karina. Karina is really good, especially in fighting decks, obviously, because we're able to search for F-fighting Pokemon, so whether that be a Phanpy or a Donphan, so we can get going into our attack as soon as possible. Then we're also able to search for an item. That item could be anything from a Robosub, Floatstone, could be a computer search, could be a VS Seeker to use the next turn, whatever you want. There's a lot of versatility with the Karina. We've got 2 in, just really good draw support. We've got 4 Professor Juniper, this is best draw supporter in the game. We've got 3 Floatstones, so Floatstones are primarily going to be used on things like Wobbuffet and Tauros, because after we spin a turn, we got to put something up in the active, but we got to be able to get that Pokemon out of the active again next turn in order to attack again with the spinning turn. So Floatstones generally are how we're doing that. We've got 1 Focus Sash. Focus Sash is just really something that helps keep one of our Donphans around a bit longer, makes it a little bit more annoying for your opponent to deal with. So if Focus Sash is attached to one of your fighting Pokemon, if that Pokemon would take damage that would knock it out, assuming it's at full HP, it would leave it at 10 HP instead of being knocked out. So again, just a little bit more durability for our Donphans. Next up, we've got 3 Muscle Bands. So this is, again, just helping us maximize our damage output, whether it be spinning turn, dealing the additional 20 damage. We've got Tauros dealing an additional 20 damage with Rage or even Mad Bull or Horn Attack. It's really good just making sure we can hit those numbers. Next up, we've got, into our energy count, we've got 4 Strong Energy, so Strong Energy again, helping that spinning turn, maximize that damage output. A Strong Energy provides an additional 20 damage to all of our fighting Pokemon. We've got 2 Double Colorless Energies. Double Colorless works in a couple different ways in the deck, whether it's powering up Donphan's second attack, which we'll get into in just a second, or even powering up Tauros, whether it be Horn Attack or a Mad Bull GX. So we can just keep it in our hand, drop it wherever we need it. So we're only running the 2 of because it's not super necessary for the deck in order to run. And then finally we're running 5 Fighting Energy, again, just what our energy that we need to attack with our Pokemon. Going into Donphan's second attack, it's more just kind of maybe be a closer or a finisher, something you need to take a knockout if you can. So it's Wreck, for 2 fighting and 2 colorless, so we get the DCEs, help power that up. It does 80 damage, and if there's a stadium card in play, this attack does an additional 60 damage. So you're doing for 140, which is able to scale up with strong energies, fighting stadiums, muscle bands, and things like that. So if you ever need a reach in order to get a big knockout or something like that, Donphan's second attack Wreck is definitely an option. But anyway, guys, that is the deck. So let's see if we can get into some battles right quick. Alright, so first up, I'm not entirely sure what this is going to be actually with the fighting and water. So hopefully we'll get a good idea here pretty quick. Here's running colorless as well, so we have to assume they have Shaman. So we can start with a Wobbuffet, that would be really nice. Okay, no basic, so we get the Mulligan. They're running Magearna. Not sure what to expect. Fighting and water and colorless. Alright, so there we go. We get the Wob. Hopefully here real quick we can see. Okay, so that is not super helpful in determining what it is that we're playing against, because they're starting with a Shaman. Alright, so hopefully off this Ultra Ball we can get a little bit better idea what we're dealing with. Okay, so it's Archeops with a hammer. Okay, so it's Toad Archeops. Okay, that's interesting. So Wobbuffet helps us avoid that a little bit if he were able to get an Archeops out. Which right now he's not able to. Alright, so we will Trainer's Mail. We're gonna take that in. Let's see, is there anything else here we can do? Actually, Karina's not a bad option. We're just gonna go ahead and Karina, get a Phanpy set up. And then I think we're just going to get a Floatstone. So we'll get our Phanpy, attach our Strong Energy, attach the Floatstone here, and we can go Fighting Stadium, retreat into the Robo-Sub. We can drop the Shaman, we'll set up for 4. Alright, so we get another Phanpy, which is good. And I think we're just going to burn the Robo-Sub here so we can get Wobbuffet back up in the active. It'll be a little bit more annoying for this Toad deck to deal with. So we'll pass. Next turn we've got the attachment, we've got we got Sycamore or Juniper. Alright, so we're running lasers. So we're just poisoned. He's running Burbank. So it's probably just a straight Toad deck. He gets the hammer off, which is annoying. Guess we'll just attach, and I guess we've got a Juniper. He's only got 3 cards in his hand, so I don't want to have to help him any more than we have to. Taurus is really good versus Toad. Got Donphan. Get another Robo-Sub. Get that out there. Trainer's Mail. Nothing really going there. We'll go ahead and via Seeker in case we do get item locked next turn. We'll get the Juniper. Alright, then we will retreat into the Donphan, but we're only hitting for 20 also. We'll pull back up this Wob. If we can find our other DCE, we can start going the Tauros route here, honestly. Hopefully this Wobbuffet's putting in work and that's why he's not really able to get anything going. Okay, so we just get the Strong Energy. Go ahead and end Juniper. Alright, we've got the Muscle Band. We'll get rid of Robo-Sub and the Sycamore. We'll get the other Donphan, get him set up. We'll retreat into the Donphan. So right now we don't have to worry about Archeops. Bring back up the Wob, because I think that's what's causing him problems right now. See, is it just... Okay, so it's 2 puzzles. A little annoying, but that's fine. So with the Crushing Hammer, so he hits that one. Crushing Hammer. So he misses that one. Alright, so... We'll only be hitting for 20 with Donphan at the moment, but I think that's okay. He's not really in a position to do much, so we'll just keep this going. Oh, that's right. For 40, so we get the knockout there, which is good. Get another strong energy. We get the DCE, so we can start attaching to Tauros here. All right, and we just get the scoop. Yeah, I want to say Wobbuffet was giving us the advantage there, but not really able to tell. All right, this looks like Mega Gardy probably. Generally, if you're seeing Fairy type, especially with Psychic type, it's probably Mega Gardy. Alright, so not an ideal start because I'd really rather start with Wobbuffet right now because they need to get their Shamans and things like that to really get explosive, but... Okay, so we get a Xerneas, so that's not really telling me much. So drop both of these. Don't really want to have to burn these, but at the same time... There's not really a lot of value in putting a Floatstone on a Phanpy. Okay, so we get Donphan. Attach here. I'm actually going to go ahead and get Shaman. Yep. So we can set up, get some cards in our hand. Alright, so we got another Phanpy. We've got Tauros. Well, we don't have really an option in terms of getting the Wobbuffet out this turn, so I think we'll just sit. So next turn we can attach, evolve, start dealing some damage. We'll be able to do 80 damage next turn. Okay, so I don't know what this is then. See a Drowsy. Looks like we're playing some jank potentially. Snorlax, okay. Which we hit Snorlax for weakness. So that's good. Well, there's all of our Wobs. Alright, so we're just gonna get a Geomancy going. Let's see. Okay, so we'll just evolve here. We'll burn the first Robo-Sub. So we can bring up the Donphan. We can drop our Wob. Attach the Floatstone to the Wobbuffet. I think we just Colress here. Yeah, we'll just Colress. That way we can still save this stuff, as opposed to Sick when we're still drawing the same anyway. There's the DCEs, Fighting Stadiums. So I think we just attach here. Probably not really dealing with an EX here, so we can go ahead and get rid of those as well. Go get the other Donphan. And then we will just spinning turn. Bring up Wobbuffet. Not sure what he's playing. It's probably Drowsy as well. I mean, Hypno. Obviously it's Drowsy, but... So the annoying thing is that Wobbuffet's not turning that off. We get the VS Seeker for the inn. Yep. Which, that's fine. Alright. Max Elixir. Gonna whiff that one. Probably see the Goodnight Babies and then, well, he might not want to Goodnight Babies yet. Yep, just the Geomancy. Okay, that's fine. We do have the Lysander. Just one, okay. So, I think we can just attach here. Trainer's Mail. Let's see what do we have. We have the Fighting Stadium. Again, it's not super relevant here. We'll start bringing up this Snorlax. Start dishing out some damage to Snorlax. Spinning turn. Bring up the Robo-Sub. We're able to two-shot that Snorlax because of weakness. That's without a strong energy as well, so. He's got the Fairy Garden. He's got his free retreat. Computer search. See what we get. Oh, we won't know actually. Fighting Free Belt, probably on the Xerneas. Sycamore. I imagine he must have got the Sycamore off of that. Computer search. There's another Snorlax. It's got the energy. Fairy Drop onto the Snorlax. So if we can find a strong energy, we should be alright in order to take that knockout. So let's see, that would put us at 160 we'd be dealing, yeah. Alright, so we'll just bring up Wobbuffet. Snorlax stays asleep. We've got 2 Donphan set up. Pretty comfortable with that. There's a Muscle Band. Okay, so no strong energy. Attach the Muscle Band there. We got another Wob. So we can just retreat into the Donphan. Spinning turn. Let's see, how much is Snorlax dealing with his... Okay, so he's going to be one-shotting it anyway, so we'll just bring up the other Wobbuffet without the Floatstone. Yeah, we were just 40 off from getting the one-shot. Alright. So he's going to go ahead and take a prize, bring up our Wob. Snorlax stays asleep. Okay, so there's our strong energy. So we do that. Drop the other Wob. I think we're just going to Colress here. Okay, so we'll retreat into the Donphan. We'll bring up the Floatstone Wob. Alright, we take that knockout, take our 2 prizes. We've got the VS Seeker, so if we don't get put to sleep, we'll be able to one-shot this Snorlax as well. Or that one. Yeah, we do have the Lysander, so... It's gonna take another Drowsy. Okay, so we'll be able to knock out another Snorlax. This one that he's been loading up all that energy on. We're already one-shotting. Correct. So we're hitting for 60, 80. No, we're only hitting for 160. So we can wreck and get that knockout. Go get the Lysander. Oh, and we just get the scoop screen. So unfortunately that wasn't a great game second time around. First one a little bit better because you saw it against like a Seismito deck and just kind of what Wobbuffet can do for disruption. But kind of give you a good idea of what we're playing with the Donphan. It's a lot of dealing a little bit of damage, go back to the bench, be annoying. Next turn retreat, come up, do a little bit of damage, go back to the bench, kind of rinse and repeat in that kind of fashion. But that is it, guys. So let me know what y'all think about the Donphan deck down below. Let me know if there's any other kind of decks that you'd be interested in us taking a look at here in the next couple weeks. But other than that, we will see y'all next time.